T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Ignition. Liftoff. Liftoff. 30 minutes after the control and liftoff.
Welcome, everybody, to another episode of What's Up with the Universe. I'm your host, Eli Hoo, and I want to welcome everybody here who's right now watching live or on replay. Welcome. If you have not hit the little subscription button with that little bell, go for it right now. Just in case you're not watching it live, you can watch me later. So, hey. Today on What's Up with the Universe, we're going to talk about exploration. Yes, how we explored beyond our own planet. So let's start a little thing right here. It all started on October 4th, 1957, with the beep heard around the world. Yep, that is the actual sound transmitted by the first Earth circling satellite. It was one of the greatest scientific feats of our age. Those faint beats came from a metal sphere called Sputnik. The Soviet Union was the very first country on this planet to ever launch a satellite into space. Of course, less than a month later, let me describe Sputnik for you a little fast here. It was the first satellite. It was about the size of a beach ball, only about 22.8 inches in diameter, and weighed about 184 pounds. It took 98 minutes to orbit Earth on its elliptical path. There's a lot of speculations of what happened to the remnants of Sputnik when it burned up in the atmosphere. Some Russian oligarchs claim to have pieces of it. It's not been verified, but there are rumors that pieces of Sputnik actually do exist. Less than a month later, on November 3rd, Sputnik 2 goes up. It launches a 1,100-pound satellite. I mean, it's so enormous to have a dog on board called Latka. Unfortunately, Latka did not survive, but this had enormous military applications at the time, because the United States figured if the Soviet Union can lob something large into space, they can put a nuclear weapon into space, launch it toward the U.S. Of course, after Sputnik 1 and 2, many people accused the Eisenhower administration of letting the Soviet Union best the United States, basically. The Sputnik crisis reinforced many popular belief at the time that Eisenhower was a smiling incompetent, and another instance of a do-nothing golf-playing president mismanaging events. I mean, even G. Menon Williams, the governor of Michigan, even wrote a poem about it. Yes, I will read a poem for you today on What's Up with the Universe. He wrote, "Oh, little Sputnik, flying high, with made in Moscow beep. You tell the world it's a commie sky, and Uncle Sam's asleep. You say on fairway and on rough, the Kremlin knows it all. We hope our golfer knows enough to get us on the ball." Of course, both the U.S. and Soviet Union announced they would launch satellites as part of the International Geophysical Year. To the surprise of the Army, Eisenhower actually got the Navy to do it, to test the first satellite called Vanguard as a response to Sputnik. Of course, it was a flop. Literally. It collapsed and erupted in flames just seconds after a launch. Of course, at the same time, he should have went with JPL because the Army, because them and JPL were ready to launch a satellite called Explorer. He should have went with them. Speaking of explorers, we have on April 12th, 1961, the very first human to enter space, Yuri Gagarin. His full name was Yuri Alexeyevich Gagarin. He was the son of a carpenter born in the village of Klushnyo, Smolensk, Russia in 1934. After he was 16, he joined a flying club and took skies for the first time. He graduated the Soviet Air Force Cadet School in 1957 and began serving as a fighter pilot. Of course, in 1960, Gagarin was selected along with 19 other candidates for Soviet space program. The program widowed and cosmonauts down to two, Gagarin and Titov. Name was Garaman Titov. But on 9:07 a.m., April 12, 1961, Gagarin's Vostok 1 spacecraft lifted off from Baikonur Cosmodrome. Hope I'm pronouncing these Russian names correctly. And he uttered the surprising and formal, immediate iconic explanation, Poyekal, which means, let's go. A little unknown fact about Yuri Gagarin. On his way to the launch pad, he had to urinate. So they stopped midway and he urinated on the tires. It's been a tradition ever since that anybody goes into space, stops halfway, and urinates on the tires. Thanks to Yuri Gagarin. Yes, even NASA astronauts do that. If you ask any NASA astronauts how hard was it to pee on the tire, they'll give you a nice little explanation of what you meant by that little question. Of course, when his flight, a single orbit around the Earth, was uneventful, people thought it was uneventful, but the landing ended in a near disaster. People did not realize this at the time. The cables joining the Vostok descent module and the service module failed to separate properly. I mean, this is him actually going toward the capsule. They cut the urination part, but this is Yuri Gagarin entering the Vostok capsule when he was on his way to space. I love this footage. I still admire that man, although I never met him. Of course, like I was... Yeah, sorry. Forgot about that. Let's talk about the Vostok 1. The descent module. It was basically a near disaster because the cables joining the descent module and the service module, they didn't separate correctly, and it caused shaking a lot while it was re-entering the Earth's atmosphere. He ejected before landing, parachuting down safely near the Volga River. This was not known at the time. People thought he had a safe landing back to Earth. This made his 108-minute orbit the first human spaceflight around the planet. Of course, unfortunately, Mr. Gagarin was killed on March 27, 1968, when his two-seater MiG-15 fighter jet he was flying crashed outside a small town in Moscow. But his ashes were placed in a niche in the Kremlin wall, while his hometown of Gastik was renamed Gagarin in his honor. The next, May 15, 1961, only 23 days after Yuri Gagarin came first person in space, NASA, United States astronaut Alan Shepard launched at 9:34 EDT. He became the first American in space. I know I talked a little bit, but before we continue, we're going to play a quick little commercial here, so we'll be back in just a little bit.
Hey guys, LDG Pixels here. If you have issues with your computers, have any IT questions, come join us at YouTube at LDG Pixels. That's on YouTube, LDG space Pixels. I'm live. I'm here to help. Tech news, nerd chat, help you fix up your computer free.
And we are back. Thank you for joining us again. If you have not watched before, we are talking about exploration. Talking with Sputnik, Yuri Gagarin, Alan Shepard, and we are now talking about other human exploration. We are talking about what happened on December 24th, 1968. 8 astronauts were aboard Apollo 8, and William Anders took this very famous photo, I'm going to show this widescreen for you, called Earthrise. Yes, believe it or not, this is my wallpaper on my computer. I love this picture. Let's talk about Apollo 11. Basically, the goal of Apollo 11 was, as JFK had announced less than a decade earlier, to land astronauts on the moon and return them safely to Earth, unquote. There was a plaque that was, July 20th, 1969. We have here on the left, Commander Michael Collins. Sorry, we have, sorry, Mr. Collins. We have the late, great Buzz Aldrin on the right, Alan Collins in the middle, and Neil Armstrong on the left. I hope I'm doing this correctly, but Michael Collins is in the center for you guys. Sorry. Sometimes a little switch and I can't really tell sometimes, but there's a plaque that, let's actually watch this right here.
The surface appears to be very, very fine grained as you get close to it. It's almost like a powder. Ground mass is very fine. I'm going to step off the laminate. That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. Oh, that looks beautiful.
It does look beautiful, and it looked beautiful. But many people don't realize the very first words spoken on the surface of the moon was Houston Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed. Of course, the first human landing didn't go quite as smoothly as a lot of people believe it to be. The descent was punctuated by a series of alarms, caused an override of automatic landing systems, beeps and flashes and everywhere. They saw that it was taking them in a dangerous rocky region. They didn't realize the original landing zone was rocky, so they ended up going a little bit off the trail here because the fugitive gauge was reading very low and dusty. They actually touched down safely at 2017 UT, which was 4:17 p.m. EDT. And an actual fact here, according to NASA records, Neil Armstrong had a usual resting beat at 60. His heart rate was at 60. When he landed, his heart rate beat was at 150 beats per minute. When he said, Houston Tranquility Base, Eagle has landed. This is how excited this guy was. How excited millions of Americans were. Besides, this is the plaque here that reads, that they left here. Neil Armstrong, Michael Collins, Buzz Aldrin. It says, here men from the planet Earth first set foot upon the moon, July 16th, 1969 AD. We came in peace for all mankind. It was supposed to be a peaceful mission. This is what it was. This is what it was accomplished. I know that there are some conspiracy people out there that say the humans never landed on the moon. That's your belief, but this is my belief that they actually did because I've actually seen some of the actual raw footage. So, and it's available on NASA as well as other various websites. The journey to the moon took various stages here. Of course, after 1969, well, let's talk about this before here. In 1959, yes, the Lunar 2 probe, it crash landed into the moon. 1959 was the first time we've ever seen the far side of the moon. It was totally flat and tremendous. I should have put that link in the description for you guys to actually see that. Okay, I apologize. Of course, in 1968, before the Apollo 11 happened, the first placed orbital mission to reach the moon happened. They actually went around the moon. I told you about the Earthrise picture. Besides human exploration, we have actually launched different probes out into outer space. The first interplanetary probe was called Pioneer 10. It was launched on March 2nd, 1972. Basically, it was supposed to be it was originally designed for a 20-month mission to fly by Jupiter. but it lasted more than 30 years, beyond anyone's expectations. The last signal sent to Earth was in January 2003 from a distance of 7.6 billion miles away. It was the first spacecraft ever to place a trajectory to escape the solar system into interstellar space. I mean, it was also the first spacecraft to fly beyond Mars. It was the first spacecraft to fly past the main asteroid belt. It was the first spacecraft to fly past Jupiter. It crossed the orbit of Neptune and became the first human-made object to go beyond Jupiter. And it was also the first spacecraft to use an all-nuclear electrical power. I believe it was, I can't remember what the nuclear atom it had, what the calls it, but I should put it on for you guys. But let's see. In 2016, NASA estimated that the Pioneer 10 to be approximately 10 billion miles from Earth, traveling at 26,900 miles per hour. If it doesn't get hit or destroyed by space debris or an asteroid comet or crashes into another planetary body, it could surpass still the active Voyager 2. And of course, it'll take approximately 2 million years to reach the closest star. Here is the little. Here is Voyager 2 itself. It has several different, many tools on it right now. And yes, the bottom left is the famous drawing of the male and woman. The ones that are currently active right now, well, active before it was destroyed, was the asteroid meteor detector sensor, basically for collisions, the helium vector magnetometer, the main antenna, the charged particle instrument, and infrared radiometer, and a radioscopic theometrical generator. These are last ones that was actually working before the signal failed. The famous plaque. Yes, the famous plaque on the Voyager 10 probe. I mean, on the Pioneer 10 probe. If you're curious about this, it's a 6-inch by 9-inch gold anodized aluminum plate fixed to the antenna support struts of the Pioneer 10 and the Pioneer 11. It was designed by Carl Sagan and Francis Drake. If you remember in a couple of my shows before, I talked about Francis Drake creating the Drake equation about the his calculation about the numbers of life and civilizations. You can go back on my video feeds and watch that. Or you can look up Francis Drake yourself. Either or, it's up to you, no matter what. No problem. You know, in the events that either the spacecraft is detected and or received in the remote future by advanced extraterrestrials, this message is intended to communicate the location of the human race. Yes, we sent our location into space. The line drawn of a naked couple standing in front of the Pioneer probe is accompanied by an ingenious scheme for conveying distance, direction, and time information about the spacecraft's origins. Basically, hey, this is where we are. This is what the plaque says. At the top left, it's a schematic representation of the energy transition between the parallel and antiparallel. The proton and electron spans it in a hydrogen atom, the basic element. Let's see. It is transition which is responsible for the 21 centimeter line, basically given a standard distance at 1420 megahertz, given a standard time. Let's see. The pulsars, that little sprightly thing right there, those are actually pulsars. These are characteristics of pulsars which are very precise and slow down over long periods of time at a predictable rate. That is what a pulsar does. It has, every pulsar is different. It does not beat or ring at the same frequency or the same speed. Basically, it's a GPS in space. If you're ever lost in space, astrophysicists and cosmologists agree that GPS will be pulsars. Where's this pulsar located directly to this pulsar? I agree, Jason. I wonder what aliens think about that. If they ever actually do get this, oh shit, there it is. They actually do get that, so. I actually forgot to do this. There we go. The pulsars, yes. The thing on the very, very bottom is the planets in our solar system. Basically, and binary relativity distance. It tells us where we actually came from. So if they see we're actually intelligent enough to know what a hydrogen atom is, and the pulsar is the location of our star. It can tell a third planet. We came from the third planet. We came out from it to actually go. So, the elapsed time for the Pioneer probe lasted 30 years, 10 months, 21 days, 22 hours, 10 minutes, and 56 seconds. I know, shut up, Data. It was launched on March 2nd, 1972, and lasted January 23rd, 2003. Of course, here's the actual plaque taken before it was a couple weeks before it was launched onto the bay to launch into space. You can see the plaque is located on the base of the antenna. Carl Sagan said this himself. The spacecraft will be encountered and the record player played only if there are advanced spacefaring civilizations in interstellar space. Of course, nobody really knows what happened to any of the other probes, but William Shatner did have an idea. Yep, destroyed by Klingons. Maybe he has it right, huh? Who knows? Our next ones that we have launched was Voyager 1 and Voyager 2. Of course, no spacecraft has gone farther than Voyager 1. It was launched in 1977. It was the first to fly by Jupiter and Saturn and cross interstellar space in August of 2012, and it still continues to collect data to this day. It was the first nuclear-powered probe with plutonium-2. Sorry, I remember the plutonium probe. It was 238 for the other one. It was launched August 20th, 1977. It was okay. Not only are the Voyager missions providing humanity with observations on unknown territory and information, they're also helping scientists to understand the very nature of energy and radiation in space. This helps future missions to Mars and beyond. So many people don't realize that or remember that Voyager 1 carries a copy of the Golden Record. It's a message to humanity, to the cosmos. It has 55 languages, pictures of people and places of Earth, music ranging from Beethoven to Chuck Berry's Johnny B. Good. And they even gave instructions on how to play the record. See, I let you actually, when you watch this game, you can pause it back and read this here. A lot of technical information, and I don't know, I like to get very technical on my show. I like to explain things simplified. So you can pause if you want to be watched. Just an explanation of how to read the recording of how to read the record itself. You can go for it. Many different voices were on the record, and as you can hear,
تحياتنا للأصدقاء في النجوم يا ليت يجمعنا الزمان.
Milí přátelé, přejeme vám vše nejlepší.
धरती के वासियों की ओर से नमस्कार.
안녕하세요.
Hello from the children of planet Earth.
各位好嗎？祝各位平安、健康、快樂。
Hartelijke groeten aan iedereen.
各位都好吧，我们都很想念你们，有空请到这儿来玩。
There's over, like I said, over 55 different languages, like Akkadian, Arabic, Cantonese, English, Hebrew, Hindi, Latin, Persian, with basic music from sounds of Earth like wind, wild dogs, herding sheep, trains, birds, even a rocket launch. Some people thought that the sound and recordings were too peacefully based Earth because there is no sounds of war, no arguments, no fights. And people speculate that if an alien civilization, maybe Voyager, who knows, maybe William Shatner had that idea as well, that they will depict Earth as a very peaceful planet. And if they come here, they're going to find out that we argue with each other. We fight with each other. I mean, we've explored our solar system. As you can see this little exploration map right here, we've explored all the way from Mercury to the Sun. Mercury, Venus. We explored our own moon. We explored Mars and the moons. We explored Saturn and the moons, Jupiter and the moons, Uranus and its moons, Neptune and its moons, even the Plutoids and exoplanets. We only know just a fraction of what we have seen so far, what we have discovered. I want to thank everybody here. Oh, wait, hang on. This is a good comment here. I think when they were asked why Bach was not included on the record, NASA said they would just be showing off. Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, I know. You always thought Pluto was called the Planet Mountains. Yes, I agree. Yes, hello, poor Pluto. And there are only 8 planets. Yeah, this was before the conference when they said that Pluto was no longer a planet. They included it into it because Carl Sagan was still on the plan, and he was still scientifically thinking that Pluto was a planet. So that is why Pluto is included on the plaque still. But they will know that we do have many Plutoids here. Listen, like I said before, I want to thank everybody for joining me. If you're watching on the rewatch, thank you for clicking that bell so you know when I went live so you can do the rewatch. If not, remember, you are here somewhere in the Milky Way. And every week we ask, what's up with the universe? So I want to thank everybody for joining me. And you guys have a very good day.